Great day, amazing humans. Yes, welcome to Empowering Bytes. This is where we keep it short and sweet. But who is the we? Well, the we is me, Nkechi, and
I'm Gaby with 1B. Pleased to be the co-host of these Empowering Bytes, where we keep it short and sweet.
E to the A to the B to the what? Mammone! That is Gaby 1B Mammone. Let's go, girl. Let the show begin. Great day, amazing humans. Yes, welcome to the next episode of Empowering Bytes. And I am here with the lovely, the amazing Gaby Mammone.
Yes! You know, I never told you, but every time you say the opening, when you say yes, I just want to belt it out and do these hand gestures.
Did you say, wasn't it Alicia that said yes?
Yeah, yes, exactly. So fun. I love it. I love it.
Somebody else told me that their daughter, because she's, I guess, always listening to the podcast, says, "Hi, amazing humans," or something.
Yes. Adopted, right? That's influence. We did an episode on that.
There, influence. There you go. Back to episode 299. Yeah, there you go.
All right. So today we want to talk about turning points. Okay. Now, sometimes people think that turning points are monumental parts in our life, like graduation, moving to a new city, getting married, maybe becoming a parent. These are all definitely turning points in our lives. But there's also so many more. And so I would love to have a really great conversation about turning points and really what lessons that have changed our lives, and you know, what's the lesson in these turning points. Let's talk about that, defining our paths.
Ooh, who's starting? You gonna share a story?
Do you want to start?
No, you can start.
Okay. I mean, there's so many turning points. Sometimes when we're in the heat of it, we don't understand, you know, why is this happening, or why me, or I can't believe it, and we may not always find the lesson, but then you do. And that becomes a turning point, and that gives you wisdom. So the first thing that came to mind for me was, I remember when I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis 20 years ago. Can you believe it's
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. I did. I celebrated my 20th anniversary actually this year. And I remember, though, jumping on that pity bandwagon of why me, you know, and I was actually silent from my employer at the time, and extended family and friends. And I remember being in a place of sorrow, of why, and sadness and embarrassment and all the things that came with that. And, you know, I don't wish it upon anyone to keep it silent, but I know why I did. And then there came a point where I realized I needed to tell my family. And then I shortly after that told my friends. And then shortly after that, I told my employer. And that whole thing, you know, probably took about 5 years before I really became open about it. And then I started being more involved with the MS community. That was my turning point. I remember going to, I remember going to an event with other people, you know, I'm doing air quotes now for people listening like me. And I remember not wanting to feel sorry for myself anymore. I didn't want to cry. I didn't want to be worried about my life being shortened or altered. I just wanted to live and achieve my dreams and be all that I could be. And that was my turning point, when I had that mental capacity to really change my mindset, because I had no control of being diagnosed, but I had control of how I was responding to my diagnosis. And once I was able to really differentiate the two, that's how I shaped my future. And it was unexpected, but yet I really had that turning point. And, you know, now I can say that I feel like MS has given me more than it's taken away.
Of course, adversity we take more out of adversity than adversity takes out
Yeah.
of us, right? Yeah.
And Montel Williams has a quote that I'm adapting now, which is MS. I may have MS, but MS does not have
To have
me.
me. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, when we take a look at moments in our life, these moments that we don't necessarily understand why, what's the insight, what's the lesson? And yes, I've had many lessons, and one of the lessons from that was I needed to empower people. I needed to
Mm.
inspire people with my story,
Mm.
that my life may be altered, but I'm still a fantastic mom, and I'm a great speaker, and I'm a wonderful coach, and I
Yes.
help
Yes.
CEOs and
All the
leaders get
things.
on stages. And I have MS, big deal. My
All the
lesson
things.
in all of that is I was given these cards so I could use my voice to
Yes.
impact others.
Yeah.
And so turning points in life allow you to really see things differently.
Yes. That's
So
beautiful.
thank you. So what about you? What's a turning point that you had in your life?
Oh gosh, I have a number. Do I have I'm trying to think like one that was really a catalyst for where I am on today. So I think what I'm gonna match you
Yeah.
because what I'd love the thread of this purpose to be the purpose this episode to be like if I start to think about intention is the thread is really about there are turning points that get you closer to the understanding of of your calling or your purpose or however, and I
Right.
think you can have more than one purpose, but
Yeah.
something like the thing that lights you up, the thing that you know that you are on
Yes.
this planet to do, and if you don't do it the world is missing on something. Like I do truly believe that that is kind of what you started to unlock because I'm pretty sure it's after that that you became a motivational, like a speaker, and
Yes.
your business and all and your kindness project all opened up from that turning point, right? It started
It
to
sure
unlock
did.
purpose, your
Yeah.
legacy that you are leaving and depositing. So mine, I'm gonna say is what is what has now my understanding has been my has created my position in corporate,
Yeah.
so um for me it was the shedding of an experience that I had that led me to the shedding of titles because I
Mm.
thought titles mattered. And this one experience, which I won't go into all the details of it, but essentially I was applying, like there was this executive role that I wanted at one of my organization, and it would have taken
Mhm.
me from senior manager into the executive, into the executive level.
Mhm.
I thought the job was mine. I thought it actually should be mine. I actually had walked with that level of ego. And when the job was posted, I was like, how dare they post that role? And through that journey, fear, in hindsight, what I see now is I had this other opportunity popped up, which kept me at the same level. And it was, even though I was in the running, like in the interview process for that executive role, I think I went what I thought was the safe bet. I had this other role where they were saying that we want you, and if you want the job, it's yours. And so I went that route, and which then pulled me out of the running for that other role. And here's the thing, that role that I took, that lateral role, was one of the best things that ever happened to me in my life. And it was
Wow.
such a great role to me. I felt elevated, like it elevated me as a human being. And then I slowly was able to shed titles because titles doesn't matter. I think what matters is that you are in spaces and places where you can drive impact, influence in others, um, lead from a place of passion and desire to
Mhm.
just make
Mhm.
the space better. And I think if all those things are true, you are what you would call in the seat of enjoyment.
Mhm.
And then I recognized the more that I took value in what I was doing, the value in others increased around me, right? And I slowly, like you, realized that I was suddenly entering into I'm going to call it the the walls of service. Like I started to really understand the
Mm.
power of service, right? Like serving from my own human. It's not just about giving money, but it's also about serving others from this place of selflessness, right? Like, where you recognize a need and you are leaning in to help solve for that need, in some shape or fashion. And so I had this great ability because I had this capacity at the time, because I knew that I could do much more, um, and I was in this role that didn't demand that level of capacity from me, so that you leverage all that capacity to pour into others. If Does that make sense?
Oh, yes. And I love that.
Yeah.
Walls of service. Like,
Yes, walls of
that's
service.
amazing. Yeah.
And so then I I did that for about 2.5 years. And here's the catalyst. So if you were to follow my career, every role I've gone to, even the one I'm in now, I was
Yeah.
tapped. Yeah. I've never really had to go on the hunt to apply. God has gifted me with this career journey that has enabled that. And I realized that other role that I was seeking at the time was kind of breaking that mold, because I actually had to, I wasn't tapped for it. I was going after it. And so the lesson one that I'm going to share right now is, I had actually, now in hindsight, I had no idea what I was going to do with that role when I got it. And I think
Mm.
and when I think about leaders in positions, like, if you don't know what you're going to do with the role when you get it, other than like drive business outcomes, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
but if you don't know who you're going to become in that role, or what, what service are you going to give that platform, especially if it's an elevated platform? What are you going to, how are you going to serve on that platform? Then I don't think you're ready for that role. Like, this is all in hindsight. And so 2.5 years later, minding my own senior manager business, I get this call from the VP now that was in seat where that role existed, and said to me, "The job is vacant now again. It's yours. Do you want it?"
Yeah.
And so, like, if you think about the thread, here it was, tapped,
Yeah. Yeah.
extended the role, and
Yeah.
that was my trajectory. And so when I realized the power of that, I think, the lesson for me, the turning point for me, is there's power in the wait.
Yes. There's power in the right
There's
weight.
power in the wait. And when you are waiting for what you hope to have open up in your life for you, serve.
Yeah. Serve the walls of
Serve, because
service.
I truly do believe services is the rent that we pay for our time here on earth. And when
Yes.
you're in that energy of service, where it's not about you and it's about the people around you. And mind you, I
Yeah.
had a girlfriend at that time that really helped me open up. Like, I don't pretend to have get into all that wisdom and all this by myself. It's through,
Yeah.
the people that my friends that I had, that were, bold enough to really tell me something about myself. Then there was my building my relationship with God. And then there was surrendering myself to something that that there was a pull for me as a human to do in this
Mm.
world, and being obedient to whatever that was.
Wow.
So yeah, so that, I know that's a big but that big turning point birthed so much. It birthed Empowered in My Skin. It
Yes,
birthed
it
the
did.
whole philosophy that I started to drive in corporate, that I literally fired myself as, and I don't mind saying, my employer at the time was TD Bank. I
Yeah.
fired myself as a TD Bank employee. Me,
Yeah.
Nkechi, fired myself as a TD employee, and I rehired myself, I deployed myself to TD. It's a very different mindset. And so
Mhm.
in deployment, when you're deployed to somewhere, the intention, the objective,
Yes.
everything about that deployment is to make the space better, simply
Yeah.
because you're there. And so every conversation, every email, every elevator ride, every text message, every meeting I had, I was deployed into those moments. And then suddenly that's where I went from good to great. I started greeting people with great day. And then it was eventually great day, amazing. And then all the
Yeah.
great, and all of that happened. And
Yeah.
it was just so natural and so organic anyway. And
Yeah.
so all of that. So, and then, Empowered My Skin was born. Then suddenly I'm a public, like these things just don't happen, right? Like
Yeah.
suddenly I'm a public speaker and then, hosting workshops and, speaking on panels and being featured on TV. Like, like,
Changing lives.
it's
Yeah.
just one, like there's that turning point. And
Yeah.
so I believe, and so to anyone that's listening to this, Gaby, and I ask for grace because I know I took up a lot of time space with that story, but to anyone that's listening to this, has there been a turning point? And sometimes I think it feels fearful
Mm,
where you turned away from it and really and
mm,
truly you just needed to lean into it, or you're in it but you don't realize that you crossed into that turn, like that you're in that turning point, or you haven't maximized the turn, right? Like I just want you to think about like sort of your life trajectory and what was that turning point, and did you turn enough in it to understand the lesson that you were supposed to get from it and now give back to the world? I think that's how you close the loop on that experience.
mhm. And for, again, anyone listening, I truly believe that your turning point will provide you with resilience, perseverance, wisdom. You can then, like you said, be part of these walls of service and you can share that wisdom and knowledge with others. So embrace these turning points. Sometimes they feel uncomfortable. We don't know why. In the moment, we just don't understand the results. But we just have to trust that there is a lesson in our turning points.
There's a lesson in everyone's turning point. I know this is another episode that we did, but it's like don't waste the hurt, don't
Yeah.
waste the turn.
Yeah.
Don't. There's something there that the world needs, and you're the only person that can deliver it. That's the thing.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the
I love
thing.
it so much.
Yeah. So thank
That
you
was
for
great.
tuning in. We love you. We know
Thank
you love us.
you.
And this is at the point of the episode where we have to say, I'm Ink
And I'm Gaby with 1B.
and we're out.
Bye-bye. Ah.
Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode.